Hi, welcome to At the Coach's Table Live. I'm Executive Coach Phyllis Reagin. I'm also a leadership psychology expert, a former studio exec, and now I lead my own leadership development and team building company. Today I'm going to be talking about how to hack your brain so you can improve your self-belief. This comes up with my clients who are demonstrating features of having lower self-belief. Let me talk a little bit what that could look like for you. So that could mean like that you feel disconnected to yourself, who you are, your self-identity. So you don't really believe in you. You might have a sense of who you are at this point in time in your leadership. It also can demonstrate in and manifest in ways like really not delegating at the level that you need to, not making decisions or making them fast enough or clear enough. Your communication may be kind of muddled and not clear with your POV with strong conviction. You might be dimmed down in important meetings where you're not speaking up when you need to. It could show up with not self-advocation, where you're not advocating for yourself or self-advancement at your company, or maybe for career stretches or any kind of career opportunity, you're not really advocating for yourself. So it can show up in different ways. Another way that it can show up that sometimes people don't realize is in overconfidence. So you can say things like, you're really sure about your decision, this is the way to go, you're not collaborating, you don't take in other people's opinions. It's that overconfidence. And it's really a coping mechanism. It is like a defense, and it's a literal fence, well, figurative fence that you're putting around yourself to really not let people know that you're feeling underconfident, that you don't have the self-belief that you really desire to have. So we're going to talk about what's going to be important for you in order to improve your self-belief. What often happens is our identity of who we think we are in this moment in time, in our leadership, in our entrepreneurial journey, may not have caught up from where we used to be. So we still have this identity, we still have this description in our mind of who we are, and it's based on an earlier version of ourselves. This cognitive dissonance is where the lack of self-belief, the lower self-trust starts to occur. With my clients, I find it really important for them to then make sure that they have a self-identity for the moment that they're in. And how we create this is, first, I want them to really know what their strengths are. What are the things that are really helping them in this moment in their leadership? What have they used that helped them get to this point? What could they potentially use actually and elevate more that could help them feel more connected to themselves? So I want them to know what are their core strengths. Maybe it's important also for them to know what are those developing, emerging strengths that could also be something that could be important to me to pull toward my identity. So if you have ever taken a strengths assessment, this is the time to pull out, dust it off. Many of us take those assessments and tuck them away and we forget what the results were. Go back to yours. If it's been longer than 3 years, I always encourage my clients to take it again because we are constantly evolving, right? And so we want to know what those strengths are right now. Look at your strengths if you have them, and they're no more than 3 years ago that you took an assessment to identify them. If you have never identified your strengths, or it's been longer than 3 years, I have a strengths assessment. It's called the Hello Inner Genius Strengths Assessment. You can find it on my website, Phyllis Reagin, REAGIN.com/assessments. And again, it's the Hello Inner Genius Strengths Assessment. It's going to help you identify your core strengths, your developing strengths, your emerging strengths. Now what you're going to do is you're going to really understand yourself. You're going to recognize, this is who I am, this is how I'm leading, these are the strengths that can help me, this is how I can leverage them in the moment that I'm in. Once you start noticing, this is the hack with your brain. Your brain has not caught up to who you are in this moment. So you want to use these strengths to start to create a different narrative. Okay? One that's rooted in who you are now, not based on who you were before, or even not like an anxiety-based identity, which is you trying to be something that you aren't yet. Okay? That can happen too. You want to be present. This is who I am now. So the first step always is to understand your strengths. I recently had a client, she's just amazing entrepreneur. She's created a small production business that's doing really well, getting the kind of exposure she wanted, getting the clientele that she wanted. But what she was noticing is the more success the business was getting, the less self-belief she was experiencing. And then how it showed up for her is she was not leading her team with conviction, and they were getting, really this ripple effect where others were beginning to feel underconfident and questioning their own decision making. So that can happen, right? That ripple effect from a leader. So she really wanted to get back to what's this person that is in the seat of the CEO of this amazing company? Who is she? She needed a new identity. When we looked at her identity, it was based on who she was maybe like 5 years ago when she was dreaming about the company. Very different from the person that's executing on that vision. So we went to really dive deep into what her strengths were. She created a new narrative for herself. She could recognize when she was having thoughts that weren't lining up to this identity that she now was rooted in. And that helped her brain know that's not true. There's no evidence for it. In fact, I am going to reframe that thought and connect it to the identity that I know that I am now. How you could help yourself then is to do just that. Really recognize what your strengths are. Start to say them to yourselves out loud. Check to see if the people around you also describe you that way. That's how you know whether or not you have your strengths in play or not. Look at your performance reviews, listen to feedback from colleagues, listen to how your manager, if they're not in the room necessarily with you, how do you think that they would describe you to someone else? Or if you are around them and they are introducing you, how do they introduce you? You want to make sure that your strengths are showing up in those scenarios. If they're not, that's likely because you're not rooted in them and you're not communicating them and you're not leading from them and you're not living them. So there's lots of clues and signals around you to tell you or not whether or not am I really using my strengths. Some people just know, I don't really know my strengths, right? You might just have more of a nebulous idea. Like, I'm a really good strategic thinker. What does that mean? It might be you're very great with looking for risk and identifying it ahead of time. It could be when people say, I'm creative. What are you creative with? Maybe you're creative with how you germinate these ideas to your team so that they then brainstorm and enrich it, the ideas that you have, and move them forward. You want to know really deeply what these strengths are and what they look like, how you use them, how they can be more useful. So that's the work for you. A little bit deeper than that is understanding what happens to you when your inner critic shows up. So your inner critic is going to try to jump in and tell you something different when you start identifying yourself with your strengths. It's going to remind you of everything negative possible, because that's the job of the inner critic. It's going to catastrophize. It's going to fortune tell the worst outcome. It's going to mind read and tell you terrible things that people might be saying about you that you have no evidence for. It's going to self-blame and tell you all the things that you're doing wrong. It's going to personalize things and all the things that are happening around you external that might not be going well. It's going to say it's your fault, right? So it's all this. It could be shoulding you, all those shoulding thoughts. I should have known better. I should have done this. I should have done it faster. Shoulding. So that will show up for you. That's the inner critic. So that's how you know your thoughts actually are not the ones you want to pay attention to. They're going to be chaotic, critical, and really there to blame and destructive thinking. You want to pay attention to your inner compass, not your inner critic. Your inner compass is calm, collective. It will be able to access, like, here's my strengths, this is what I want to use in this moment. It's thoughtful, right? It's this inner knowingness that you have, and it will give you more clarity when you're leading, when you're connecting to your inner compass. So how can you access that? You access that by making sure you're approaching things from mindfulness. For some people, that means they need to take a couple of really deep breaths to reconnect to who they are. It might mean meditation, or making sure you do yoga, or go for a walk where you're not working or problem solving, but you're just really present. So you want to be present so you can feel and hear your inner compass. This is going to allow you, in those moments when your self-belief is maybe feeling challenged, and you want to access those thoughts about your strengths, you want to come from this calm, collected place so you can access your inner compass and not your inner critic. All right, that's the tip for today, is that you are going to spend time understanding your strengths, looking around to make sure you're applying them, listening to them, saying them to yourselves, and really challenging yourself to create a new identity for the moment you're in right now. I go live every Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. On Wednesdays, I'm talking about mindset and neuroscience and ways that you can use your brain to really help yourself in your professional lives, sometimes your personal life as well. Friday, I'm talking about leadership strategies, like influence, and ways to which you can make decisions clearer, faster, how to work through uncertainty, how to improve your executive presence. And then Saturday, I talk about wellness, things that will reduce burnout, really help with your self-care so you can connect to you better and be the best leader that you can be. Join me. If you're looking for what the topics are going to be for this month in October, go to my website, phyllisreagin.com/live events. You can download my calendar there.